Hello, yes. Sabrina's Antique Restoration. Sure, I can show you how to restore some antiques. Hello, what's up, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to be restoring some antiques. If you know me, you know that I'm an antique fanatic, an antique connoisseur, if you will. And so I do tend to pick up one or two antiques here and there that do need a little bit of tender loving and care. So today I'm going to dip my toes into the waters of antique restoration. And of course I'm taking you along for the ride. So in this video I'm going to be working with three different antiques. The first is a 1950s BT telephone. It's an old rotary phone that we are going to fix the dial plate on. Second of all, I have this little clock barometer duo that needs a little bit of help. And then third of all, and most exciting of all, I have this antique brass candlestick that needs a lot of cleaning. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and I'm going to be talking you through the process of how I fix these antiques up. Because spoiler alert, I do fix them up. So the first thing I'm going to be fixing / restoring, I'm using those terms kind of interchangeably, is this 1950s rotary phone. Now when I bought this on eBay, I didn't even notice that the rotary dial was misplaced. I only really noticed it once my dad told me. It was definitely really smart to start off with this one because this gave me a lot of confidence and this made me feel like I could just do anything. Really all I had to do was use a screwdriver to get the middle plate off, and then I could just unscrew the rotary plate and put it on correctly. So yeah, this is now fixed, thank God. The next thing I ended up restoring was this vintage clock / barometer duo that I thrifted recently. About 2 weeks ago I went back to the Netherlands and I visited my grandparents, and one of my grandpas has lots of barometers all over the place. So I think subconsciously I was kind of inspired by that. If you don't know how a barometer works, basically it measures changes in air pressure, which is how it's able to kind of predict how the weather's gonna go. Because when it rains or storms or hails, the air pressure changes, and that's how it's able to basically measure the weather. It's really interesting. I'm quite fascinated by it actually. Something that I found very interesting about barometers as well is that you need to set the base pressure for your location obviously, so then you can see the changes in pressure. In terms of fixing this though, only the clock needed my attention. So I just used a screwdriver to wriggle out the battery, and that ended up working perfectly fine. And as soon as I replaced that, I found another more interesting problem, which was that the second hand of this clock kept getting stuck. And so I really wanted to fix the second hand in a way that didn't involve me opening the glass, and so I tried a bunch of internet fixes first. I tried just tapping the glass, just putting in a completely fresh battery as well, and none of those seemed to help. And so I kind of just had to figure out how to get the glass off. I think in the end I just used my screwdriver and it came right off. It was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. And finally, it turned out that just bending the second hand ever so slightly was the perfect fix. And I'm just really glad that I didn't have to go and actually dive into the clock mechanism, because that's just scary on a whole new level. And so that's another successful fix. With that done, let's get into the most time-consuming fix, which was the brass candlestick. I found a set of these two antique brass candelabras for such a good price on eBay. The only problem was that they were covered in a huge amount of wax. And not just white wax either, it was white, purple, and bright green wax. My big inspiration for getting these candlesticks was Anna Marie Tendler's photography. I really love her work with these giant brass candelabras, and so I kind of wanted to thrift myself something with a similar vibe. So I started this restoration by figuring out exactly what metal I was dealing with. So for that, you just hold a magnet to the brass. And so if the magnet ends up sticking, you're dealing with something that is only coated in brass. And so if your magnet does not stick, then you're most likely dealing with solid brass. So my candlesticks ended up being solid brass, which means that I felt safe just taking a knife to carefully chip the wax off. In terms of polishing, I actually tried a bunch of different things, including dedicated Brasso brass polish and vinegar. And to be honest, I kind of enjoyed the vinegar's results more than I did the dedicated Brasso polish. I also tried a mix of flour, salt, and vinegar to get the candle wax off, which did work, but when removing it with hot water, it ended up evaporating some of the zinc in the metal, leaving it with more of a rose gold kind of hue, which was freaking me out. And so this is why you patch test everything. Thank God I patch tested that. And here's the final result. As you can see, the dial phone is now functional, the clock is ticking away, and the candlesticks are a lot cleaner than they were before. They're definitely not perfect, they still have a very antique look, and I didn't get all of the green off, but I think it made such a major difference. I actually enjoyed this whole process of restoring these antiques a lot more than I thought I would. Obviously, it's a learning curve, and I'm just learning things and trying to figure things out, but I'm very pleasantly surprised by how I managed to fix these things. And I feel like I could take on the world. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!